we're now going to provide a strategy for factoring. So this is the strategy that I use when I look at a problem that says factor the following polynomial. And the very first thing I do is look for GCFs and factor them out. And it's really, really, really important that you factor these out. Once I've factored it out, I then count the number of terms left. I don't count the GCF because it's already factored, so I'm only looking at what's left over. If I find the terms and I count them up and I have 2, then I'm always going to look at the following. Is it an a squared minus b squared? If it is, then factor it as a plus b, a times a minus b, because we have a difference of squares. Alright, what about, if it's not, what is it a cubed minus b cubed? Is it a difference of cubes? If it is a difference of cubes, then we factor it as a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. If it's not a difference of cubes, then maybe it's a sum of cubes. If it is a sum of cubes, then we get a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared, and we're done. If it's not, then it's prime, and we leave it alone. Remember, of course, we've already pulled out our GCF. Okay, what if we have instead 3 terms? Then we want to know, is it of the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared? If it is, then we factor it as a plus b squared. Or is it a squared minus 2ab plus b squared? If it is, then we do a minus b squared. And so both of these are our perfect square trinomials. If we can recognize them, they're much easier to factor as perfect square trinomials than it is any of the other methods. So if it's not, is it of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a does not equal 1? And if this is true, then we're going to use synthetic factor, where we multiply a times c together to get our factors. And we find our sum, and we divide them by a to get our answer. If it's not, then we want to look at, is it x squared plus bx plus c? If it is, then we're just going to factor the trinomial. Doing the same thing as synthetic factoring, except we don't need the a because the a is a 1. And if it's not one of these, then it's prime, and we're done. The last thing that we're going to talk about is 4 terms. If there's 4 terms, then we factor by grouping. Break it in half, see if we can find something in common between the 2 halves, and simplify it that way. And this is our general purpose strategy for factoring. And of course, once we've factored it, our last step, step number 3, is to check by multiplying. Make sure what we put in is in fact what we got out.